There's Heather.
Well, I'm going to start talking a little bit. I want to welcome everybody back to Quarantine Theater. We've been away for a little bit. We've been having a summer. We've been having a wonderful summer, and we've got a wonderful production for you tonight. We're also on the YouTube feed if anybody's looking for that, and if anybody's like looking to see this at another time, or if you know somebody who's missing it, they can see it on the Quarantine Theater YouTube channel. Tonight we've got a play written by J.J. Buchner and Angelique Powell called Quarantine Life. At least it's called that now. It's a working title. And this will be with us tonight in the show are Angelique Powell, Alex Perrone, Katie Weinberg, Jay Bang, Med Jupin, Mary Darcy, and there's one other, somebody help me. There's somebody else in this. Evan Jones.
He's that guy.
Tonight we're benefiting the Local Arts Guild of Saratoga, better known as probably to you as LAGS. That was founded by JJ, and it's run by him now. So make sure that you go to, if you go to the chat function, there's a GoFundMe link that JJ has posted, but he's used his character's name tonight. So if you see From Elliot to Everyone, you can click that. It's not something besides fundraising. I think everybody, if people could start turning their videos off. Rich, let's see, Daniel, Jen, Colleen. Great. And if you're not muted, I got to admit some more people. If you're not muted, please do that. Once we start, what I do is I start just shutting people stuff off involuntarily. So I want you to stay after. We're going to have what I believe from last night's discussion is going to be a riveting, emotional question and answer session for the writers and the actors. It's going to be hosted by Mary Darcy. Please stay for that. And before we move on to the show and everything, next performance is Sunday, September 20th at 7:30 p.m. So that's a Sunday. And that's a play that was written, the script was written using the exquisite corpse technique. So there's actually 6 writers. There'll be more about how that was composed, and it's called The Dysfunctional Philosopher Gracefully Swindles the Broken Clown. Hey, Gene, how you doing, Remy?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
How are you?
I'm good. I didn't want to miss that, JJ.
David, before we get started, let's give JJ a minute to talk about LAGS.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Good. Thanks, Evan. JJ, take it away. Tell us about your company.
Okay. Local Actors Guild had their first production September 11th, 2006. We did a stage reading of the show The Guys, a two-hander written about a psychiatrist and a fireman that were involved in 9/11. And then we went and did a production of The Graduate. And then I said, well, let's just do a whole season. So we've been doing seasons ever since at the Art Center in Saratoga. We've been able to bring shows to Saratoga that normally wouldn't come to Saratoga, such as, Angels in America, The Normal Heart. As many of you know, Saratoga it's a progressive town, but, Angels in America wouldn't be the first thing you think to see in Saratoga. And we're also have been doing some original shows. We've been doing new play festivals. So trying to get new works out there to people that might not normally get a chance to produce their new works. But, and going forward, we're unfortunately not probably going to be doing our next season that we had planned. So we're going to be doing 3 original works that'll be read virtually, and Quarantine Life. It will be a full-length production in May of 2021. This is a small portion of a full length that will be finished. Was supposed to originally be finished by me, but now I have a wonderful writing partner in Angelique Powell. So so it's going to be great. And I'll give the new name right now. We might as well. The new title is A Tale of Two Pandemics. So, but that's all I got. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to hear from me after.
I think everyone will. Thanks so much, JJ. So get ready for a treat, everybody. Just sit back and somewhat relax and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Theater Night in the Capital District.
A Tale of Two Pandemics by J.J. Buechner and Angelique Powell. Setting, a 5-bedroom house in Albany, New York. Scene 1, February 15th, 2020.
Okay, so I've made a list of questions to ask our possible new roommate. I also think that we should ask him for some references, and maybe we should ask for financial information.
Aren't we going a little overboard?
I just think we should be thorough. We don't want some crazy person living with us.
He's not crazy. We all know him.
I'm just saying, just because he's our favorite bartender at McGeary's doesn't mean anything.
Josie, he's been here for parties, and if memory serves, he spent the night in your room.
Which I'm still jealous about.
Josh, no matter how many times he takes his shirt off because you asked him, doesn't mean he's gay. He's straight and a good sport.
Spaghetti is straight until you cook it.
Oh my God, he is not going to want to live here with this thirsty queen.
I don't know why we need another roommate. The house is paid for.
I know, but Grandma left it to us. We still have to pay bills and taxes. If we don't do that, we have to sell it.
And I can't afford another place.
Can't either.
You're a lawyer.
A lawyer with student loan debt. Plus, I feel like I'm living out my 90s friends fantasy. At least no one has to ask if we can afford this place. Most people know it's paid for. And I couldn't imagine living with anyone else. It's like we're a family. We've been through so much together.
Can someone please stop her from watching any more Hallmark movies?
I don't watch that many.
Then why is our DVR filled with Hallmark Christmas movies?
Basic.
Basic, said the pumpkin spice queen.
It smells so good.
Can we just focus, please? I still think we need to ask him questions.
And I think we don't really need to interview him. We all like him, and he's a bartender. He works late, and he probably sleeps all day. The only person that would be affected by him is Terry, who works from home.
And we'll probably get discounts on drinks.
Of course, liquor is the first thing on your mind.
You know I love a discount.
We know. Your TJ Maxx candle collection shows you love a bargain.
Listen, it's almost 1 o'clock. He'll be here soon. Just promise me none of you will say anything embarrassing.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Like you really need to ask that hooker.
I promise I won't ask him to take his shirt off. Sober Josh doesn't do that.
So we got kicked out of City Line for a different reason?
He was a cute bear cub. You know I love bear cubs. Just look at Elliot.
So we're only married because I'm a bear cub. I thought it was my glowing personality.
The doorbell rings.
Saved by the bell.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Eddie.
Hey, Josie. Hey, everyone.
Eddie, thank you so much for meeting with us today. We're very excited you could join us. We are looking forward to the possibility of you joining our family.
Here we go.
No, thank you all for letting me come here today. Oh, Josie, I almost forgot. I brought this back.
Eddie hands Josie a plastic bag.
Sorry, it took so long to give it back.
Oh God. Thank you.
What's in the bag?
It's nothing.
Your panties.
Josh, don't start.
I'm not. I'm just asking a question.
Josh, if you don't shut up, I'm calling Mom.
Hateful.
Thank you for bringing it back, Eddie. We have a couple questions for you.
Actually, Josie has a couple of questions for you.
We're all pretty much good with you living here, but Josie over here loves her lists.
You'll understand our pain when you move in.
Wait till you see our chore wheel.
Eddie, they're just basic questions that any normal roommates would ask.
Eddie, I'm sorry for this. We'll entertain her. Okay, so just sit back, get comfortable, take off your
Josh!
Coat! I was going to say coat.
Were you, though?
Yes, I was.
It's all good. I know sober Josh wouldn't ask me to take my shirt off, I assume 3 o'clock in the morning, Josh, is different from 1 o'clock, Josh?
You got my vote.
Thank you. Josie, go ahead with the questions.
Okay, there are only a couple. First, how long have you been with your current employer?
5 years.
What would your last roommate say about you?
My mom would give me a glowing reference.
Your mom?
Yes, ever since my dad left, I wanted to make sure I was there to take care of her. She's an amazing mom and she's sacrificed a lot for me.
Is she okay with you moving out?
She is. She sat me down last week and said, "You're a wonderful son, but you need to move out. You're cramping my style and I can't even bring a guy home."
Your story reminds me of a movie I once saw.
Oh, shit.
It was called A Son's Love. You've probably never seen it.
I have it. On my day off from the bar, I sit with my mom and I watch Hallmark movies. It's a little weird, but I fill up VR with Hallmark movies so we can spend the day together. I actually take a couple days off in July so we can fit all the Hallmark Christmas in July movies in.
Back up, everyone. Josie's head is going to explode.
Can we all just take a vote?
Just one more question. Whew. I know you've worked at McGarry's for 5 years, but what happens if you lose your job? How would you be able to pay rent?
I have a second job.
Oh, what is it?
TikTok.
TikTok?
Yeah, it's like the new Vine. I record short videos of myself bartending and I post them. I have 200,000 followers and TikTok sends me a monthly check. The check alone will cover rent.
Josie, does that cover everything?
That should be good. Eddie will call you tomorrow with our decision.
Earl, get a grip. Eddie, can you move in March 1st?
I can.
Good. Start packing, roomie.
Thank you all so much. You won't regret this. And now you'll get the friends and family discount at the bar.
Oh, praise Jesus.
Thank you so much, Eddie. We'll see you March 1st.
I still think we should have asked him a couple more questions.
I have a question for you. What's in the bag?
I said it was nothing.
Oh, nothing, my ass.
It's personal. Josh, give me that bag.
Wait, we want to know. Oh my God.
Give me that.
A nightgown?
He didn't have anything to wear to bed.
You made him wear a nightgown?
What was he supposed to wear?
Nothing.
I'm sure he got in that bed in his birthday suit.
Yeah, he definitely did. We all heard the bed frame slamming against the wall, and I think the neighbors heard the finale.
Yeah, I didn't think your voice could go that high.
I hate all of you.
Oh, yes, Eddie, right there. No, to the left.
Oh, come on, Josie. We're only kidding.
Yeah, your voice doesn't go that high.
Scene 2, a week into pause.
I would like to call this meeting to order.
Do you guys always have tenant meetings?
No, this is a new one.
Since we all have no clue what is going to happen with COVID-19, we should be prepared.
How many things do you have on your list?
Do you really need to ask that?
I'm guessing at least 20 talking points.
I'm just trying to prepare us for a possible long quarantine. If we all have to be here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, then we need a plan. Terry already works from home, and now Josh, Ashley, and I have to. Elliot and Eddie are laid off now, so we have a house full of people trying to work from home. Our Wi-Fi is crashing every day. We're going to have to make a schedule.
We all work the same hours.
You can't alternate our work hours if they're set in stone.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that we all can't use the Wi-Fi all the time.
I have to. If I don't do my TikToks, I'll be broke. My unemployment claim hasn't gone through yet.
Is there any way you could schedule them when we're on lunch?
I can try.
Elliot?
I only use it for streaming movies.
Which is overloading the Wi-Fi.
Can't we just get a Wi-Fi booster or something?
They're all sold out on Amazon.
What am I supposed to do all day?
You could start making masks. You've had that sewing machine for 2 years and you haven't used it since you made our Winnie the Pooh and Tigger costumes.
I don't have enough fabric.
There are boxes of fabric in the attic from our grandmother. Just think about it.
I will.
So now that the schedule's over, can I finally start the series?
We aren't done.
Rosie, calm down. Eddie, just start this stupid series.
It's not. It's the #1 streaming Netflix series right now. It will help us all take our minds off this quarantine.
Do you really think some idiot who owns tigers in Oklahoma is going to take our minds off quarantine?
We'll see.
1 hour in.
I literally have no words.
2 hours in.
Does it really only cost $2,000 for a tiger cub? No, Josh, before you ask, we can't have one.
3 hours in.
There is no way that is him singing.
Wait a minute. He has 2 husbands?
Don't get any ideas.
4 hours in.
Did she just say something about spreading sardine oil on someone?
5 hours in.
Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him.
The series ends.
Did I seriously just sit for 5 hours watching that?
You sure did.
I still can't believe he talked about his dead husband's balls at his funeral. What did he call them?
Golden nuggets. Maybe when Elliot dies, that's how I'll remember his balls.
Eddie, do you know what the best thing about this series was?
No people of color in it.
You damn right. What kind of white nonsense was that?
Tiger King, the new episode.
Come on, everyone. They released a new episode. They're talking to the cast members.
I'll be right there.
Just stop making masks for 2 minutes.
Okay, thank God it's only 1 episode.
Do you think they'll interview that bitch Carol or that weirdo with the 15 wives?
Where's Eddie?
He's making a TikTok.
I'll go get him.
I can't believe I'm actually excited for this.
I'm still in shock that his new husband is so hot.
You think he's hot?
I do. Oh, come on. You thought Meth Mouth was cute.
I didn't say he was cute. I just said if I slept with him, it wouldn't be my worst Tuesday night.
Oh my God!
What's wrong?
Nothing. I saw nothing.
I'm sorry, Ashley.
It's okay. I'll knock next time.
What just happened?
Why are you in a towel?
Shut up. No complaints here, Eddie.
I was making a video.
A TikTok?
Not exactly.
Were you sending a video to a friend?
Not exactly. Listen, TikTok has blown up and I'm not making as much money as I used to.
What? Did you start an OnlyFans page? Holy shit, you did, didn't you?
What's an OnlyFans page?
Oh, you don't want to know.
What's your handle?
Spicy Anaconda 4. Don't you dare subscribe, Josh.
$5 a month? You have 8,000 followers?
8,000 followers?
What? People like what they see.
Oh, Josie, like you don't remember.
Okay, please stop. Please stop.
I'll go put some clothes on, then we can watch the new episode.
Okay, Spicy Anaconda.
May 1st, 2020, lunchtime.
Who's hungry?
I am.
I'm good. I'm ordering DoorDash.
Isn't that the 6th time you ordered DoorDash this week?
7th.
So what?
Do you have a problem with the menu?
Actually, yes, I do. Since you sprained your arm doing your live stream on OnlyFans, your cooking has sucked.
Then fine. You do the cooking.
Make Elliot do it.
We can't. Him and Josh are having their lunchtime nap.
Lunchtime, my ass. They already broke one bed frame this month.
Leave them alone.
You're only sticking up for them because Josh is your brother.
Who cares? You all live in the house because our grandmother left it to us.
Good morning, everyone.
Your fly is open.
What's wrong with her?
Elliot, I think I found a better bed frame.
Dear God, I'm going out for lunch. Eddie, you want to come?
Yeah.
Where is everyone?
They've all lost their minds, and I'm right behind them.
I wonder what's gotten into her.
No clue. But look at this bed frame.
May 27th, 2020, the calm before the storm.
How many more masks do we need to pack up?
There's only a few more orders.
And to think you didn't want to make masks.
What does everyone want for breakfast?
Oh, 2 eggs over easy with bacon and sourdough toast.
Eggs Benedict?
I wouldn't mind an omelet.
I'll have what Josh is having.
Can you put me 2 eggs with hash and wheat toast?
Okay, 5 scrambled eggs with white toast. Right up.
Why do you even ask us anymore?
Can everyone be quiet? I'm trying to watch CNN.
How about we don't watch the news today? I'm sick of the news.
I second that.
This just in, we've obtained cell phone footage of what seems to be a policeman kneeling on the back of a suspect. The following video may be too graphic for some viewers.
Guys, I don't think I want to watch this.
Did he just say, I can't breathe?
Why aren't the other cops doing anything?
Well, folks, this is all we have right now. We'll keep you up to date when we receive more details.
Turn it off.
I just checked my phone. It's everywhere.
Jesus Christ.
Just turn off the fucking TV.
Ashley, relax.
Relax? You, of all people, telling me to relax? I need to get the fuck out of here.
Where are you going?
I don't know. Somewhere. Anywhere. I need to get some air.
Do you want me to come with you?
No, I need you all to give me space.
Should I go get her?
I would just let her blow off some steam.
She'll be fine.
Fine? We just spent 8 minutes and 46 seconds watching a guy die. And you think she'll be fine?
What am I supposed to say?
Nothing. None of you have the right to say anything.
We might not have the right, but we can at least be concerned about our friend.
You can't be concerned with your friends until you are concerned with an entire community.
What did I say?
I don't know.
We can't understand what either of them are thinking right now. I think the only thing we can do right now is just listen.
May 31st, 2020.
I should never have let Josh go with them.
Why aren't any of them answering their texts?
Looks like a war zone out there. Has anyone seen any live footage on Facebook?
Turn on the news. Channel 13.
We take you live to Albany, where the police have come face to face with protesters. What turned out to be a peaceful protest now has turned into a confrontation with police. Protesters wanted to get their message of hope and peace out and are now having to worry about police retaliation.
Why won't Josh answer his phone?
There's so many people there, I'm sure no one has service.
We've just gotten word that police have deployed tear gas and rubber bullets, and the protesters have started fighting back.
Shut it off.
But
shut it off, I said. We'll just wait.
Oh my God, what happened?
Eddie, Ashley, and I were at the protest, and things just went crazy. Eddie and Ashley, they didn't want to leave. I begged them to just come home, but Eddie took off with a group of people, and then Ashley took off towards the police. I ran after her, and then I don't know what happened. Okay, the next thing I knew, I was in a driveway off Henry Johnson Boulevard. Okay, two guys just pulled me there, and I got shot with 2 rubber bullets, one in my leg, and the other one grazed my head. 2 black protesters who I didn't even know just pulled me out of harm's way. No questions asked. They just helped me. They did more for me in 10 minutes than I've ever done for their entire community.
Sit down.
Where's Ashley and Eddie?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Where's Eddie?
He got arrested.
Arrested?
What do you care?
That's not fair.
Not fair. I asked all of you to come with us tonight. You have been asking me, pleading with me, begging me to tell you what you can do. And for what? So you can leave it at your performative black fucking square? You're the first one to call us a family. But what kind of family is this when you can't even stand up for my black body? You asked me what you can do, and I gave you all something to do, but you still can't hear me, and the only person who came was Josh. I can tell you what's not fucking fair.
Ashley, don't.
Why not? At least you had the strength to go. I didn't even expect the rest of them to go. Do you think this is easy for me? Do you think I'm not afraid every time I join the front line?
We wanted to be here if something happened.
Well, Eddie's in jail and Josh is bleeding, so obviously something happened. Josh, where did you go?
I lost you when you ran, okay? Then I got hit. I told you to stay with me.
I just couldn't stand around anymore. I feel like I have been standing around my entire life just waiting for things to get better. And, you know, once I got to the line of police, I thought it would end.
Why?
Because I was standing there, face to face with the police in riot gear. So militant. So nondescript, just standing across from me. Wearing the same badge and uniform that I have seen in footage time and time again, when somehow a Black person charged with resisting arrest ends up on the pavement and the only explanation offered is what they should have done to avoid this outcome. The familiar combination of fear and rage and sadness and hurt for brothers and sisters I never got to meet because they were executed for being in the same exact skin that I'm in. It bubbled up inside me and then I saw him. My little brother. A Black man in full riot gear with a shield. We stared at each other for what felt like forever. And it all just hit me like a ton of bricks. I have been filled with so much pain for myself, for my people, for George Floyd, Atiana Jefferson, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, Corinne Gaines, Tony McDade, Emmett Till, Breonna Taylor, Amadou Diallo, for a system that was never designed to protect us, that I couldn't imagine what my brother's day-to-day might look like. I didn't know what to say. So I looked him in his eyes and I said, I'm so sorry. being my brother. He knew I wasn't apologizing for protesting, or he also knew I wasn't apologizing for confronting his brothers in blue. He looked me back in my eyes and he said, "Big sister, I am so sorry." And then he just kept saying, "Ashley, get out of here now." And then I went deaf. The tear gas, it just started, and I'm just standing in a cloud of smoke and I couldn't breathe. And then I heard, "Go grab her now." And I was on the stoop with milk being poured over my face, and I couldn't see. When my eyes cleared, I was sitting on the floor of an apartment, crying. And an elderly Black woman was cradling me as her 14-year-old grandchild watched, and he ran into the crowd and pulled me out of harm's way. I couldn't stop crying. And she just held me and rocked me until I stopped. She brought me to the bathroom and cleaned me up. She gave me some clothes and offered me a place to stay overnight. And I told her I had to go home. She said, "Listen, baby, I know you want to fight, and I want you to fight. I am so proud of you, and I need you to keep fighting for me and my grandbaby, for our ancestors. But you promised me this, child. Tonight, you will go home and take care of yourself. Girl, you are your ancestors' wildest dreams. You have the spirit of those who have come before you, marching right alongside you, baby. And you have every right to be enraged. But you're gonna need your energy for tomorrow and the next day. You can't pour from an empty cup, baby. Our fight has only just begun. And we're gonna need people like you and my grandbaby to keep fighting when I'm gone. I'm going to bed.
Someone help me up. I'm gonna go talk to her.
Shouldn't you rest?
Rest? I think we've all rested enough, don't you?
Ashley's bedroom.
Can I come in?
Is it just you?
Yeah.
Then come in.
You okay?
Why does everyone keep asking me that? Would you be okay? How would you feel if you knew that people hated you so much that they would consistently justify your murder? I'm not okay. I am so not okay. I can't even articulate how not okay I am. But I'm alive. Which is more than I can say for so many people who look like me. And even saying that makes me feel guilty. Fuck! Thank you for coming tonight.
Don't thank me. I know you're mad at Elliot and Josie and Terry, but they were scared. I know that makes no sense, but they're trying.
I know. But I'm scared too. I'm scared every single day. And I don't have the luxury of leaning into that emotion. I'm not even mad. I'm just so disappointed. How's your head?
Oh, please, it's fine. If I can take a punch when a little bitch calls me a fag at a pizza place, then I can take a rubber bullet grazing my head. Just, I'm concerned. I never saw you like this. I've never seen you so mad. I mean, I understand, and I'll never know what you're feeling, but it was something I've never seen.
That feeling that I'm talking about? For people just hating you for something you can't change? Don't tell me you don't get that. You get that. You can understand.
No, I can't.
What about Stonewall?
Look, when I first came out, Stonewall was this magical event that let me come out in 1996. Then I learned that the riots were started by street people and Black trans people. The two most famous figures that night were Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. They were the mothers of my revolution. They were involved in 6 nights of riots in 1969. Then, in 1970, the white gay men and white lesbians held the first New York City Pride Parade. Marsha and Sylvia and the street people were told to go to the back of the parade. They weren't welcome. You know, I'm proud that Stonewall happened, but what happened after is a stain on our movement.
I'm sorry I got you into this tonight. I wasn't even going to go. But today, my dad, he texted me, I'm so sorry. I never thought you'd have to live through this stuff too.
Well, I promise you, I won't let you live through this alone.
The next morning.
Okay, we have 3 cases of water, 4 gallons of milk, and everyone has made their signs, right?
Yes, and God, you sound like Josie.
When is she going to be back with Eddie?
She just texted me. They're on their way.
Can't believe she bailed them out.
She wanted to. Has anyone checked on Ashley?
She's still sleeping.
Well, hello, jailbait.
Really, bitch? What happened to your head?
Oh, nothing compared to what's going on in the world.
What's all this stuff?
We decided we were lame for not going last night. I know it's not much, but it's a start.
Good morning. Eddie, are you all right?
Yeah, one night in jail is nothing. Josie bailed me out.
What are you all doing?
We wanted to do something.
We're going to the monument in Washington Park, and we are going to stand there all night if we have to. We have tons of supplies.
Honestly, you're all ridiculous. Who even organized this protest? You don't have to do this.
Yes, we do.
We made signs.
My privilege is not worth your life.
When you complain about your mask, remember George Floyd couldn't breathe that day.
Say their names.
I'm not a sign guy, but damn.
I have to go change.
You never need to change. You look fine. Let's go.
Why aren't you guys moving?
Figured you and Eddie should go first and lead us.
No. We aren't going first. We are all leaving together. Once we get on that sidewalk, we are linking arms and walking to that park together. The days of Eddie and I leading this revolution are over. If you want to be a part of this movement, whatever your lane may be, you have to be bold enough to step into your power independently. Educating the oppressor is not the burden of the oppressed. I'll turn you all into activists if it's the last thing I do. I love you.
End of play.
Dope.
Bravo, bravo. Well done, everyone.
That was amazing.
So we're going to let the actors kind of get it together a little bit because that was pretty emotional. This is the second straight night that I've watched you all, and I have the same ache that I had last night. We're going to have a quick Q&A. If you all have any questions, I think they get texted in the thread. Is that what happens to them, David?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They can text in the thread, or people can
Put their-
unmute to ask a question. They can also
their
raise a
hand up,
hand
wave.
function.
Okay. Great. We definitely are welcoming questions from the crowd. Let's start. JJ, you got it together? You okay?
Oh yeah, I'm good now. I'm good.
let's have you start with just sharing a little bit about how this play came to be.
Well, the play came to be that I started writing a little bit during COVID because I was like, I love my husband, but the only person I've been with since March is my husband, and I'm working from home, and I wrote a short 10-minute play based on Leslie Jordan's, well, shit, how y'all doing kind of thing. And we had this lovely little thing. And I said, you know what? I still want to write something funny. I have to write something. I have to laugh during this quarantine. I really, really do. So I thought to myself, I'm just going to write a play for, 6 of my friends to read one night. Kind of cool. Like if the sitcom Friends happened right now in Albany during quarantine 2020, like fun. Like what would Phoebe sing? What would Chandler say? What, that kind of thing. And then the world exploded. And I thought to myself, if I do not address what's going on in the world with George Floyd and Albany, I would do a disservice to the Black Lives Matter movement. So then I said, I didn't know how to address, how to say what I was feeling. And then I went to the protests in Troy, and I was surrounded by 11,000 people. And my husband and I kind of stayed on the fringe of the protest. And then the march happened. And next thing you know, my husband's like, oh, we should start marching. Let's start. I said, okay, cool. So we didn't realize that we were at the head of the march. And we turned a corner and we came face to face with the Troy police. And my husband and I were like maybe 6 of 6 white people that were there in the beginning, because we didn't realize that, as soon as the protest starts, you should march, but you didn't realize, okay, you're going to be right in it. You're going to be in the thick of it. And there was a moment where I was staring at the police. I was staring at snipers on the roof of the Troy Police Department. And they had us all take a knee, and my husband has bad knees. So I lost my husband for a second, and then they were like white allies to the front, and I moved to the front, and I completely went deaf. And in that Ashley's monologue, that was the moment that I went deaf. And I came home and I started writing, and I wrote the second half, the George Floyd murder. But I realized after writing it, having Carol Durant and John Remy and Angelique read it, they gave me some really great feedback. But then I read it again and I said, you don't understand, I think, as much as you understand. You understand the struggle because you have that Stonewall kind of thing, and you know that kind of protest. But I really looked at the Black Lives Matter movement through, God, very candidly, the whitest white eyes in the entire world. I live in Saratoga. I'm a big old white guy, and I'm a big old gay guy, and my struggle only comes from being gay and not waking up every morning worried to step out of my house, or waking up in the morning because I was just sleeping and someone killed me. So I knew how to tap into some of that energy. And then I passed it along to Angelique and I said, listen, I need you to look at this. And we went back and forth. And then I cornered her for a 3-hour Zoom call about a week ago. And I said, you need to help me with this monologue. And so I forced Angelique Powell to become playwright in 3 hours. And she sent me the script. And she said, I also went back and changed some other things too. And she did. And now, after it was done, I said to her, this is going to be a full-length play. And it's either going to end on one of two dates: when the election goes right, or when they arrest Breonna Taylor's killers. So in our mind, we're hoping that it's not going to be election. It's going to be the moment that Breonna Taylor's killers are going to get arrested and charged. I'm hoping that's what it is. And I'm excited to see what Angelique and I can create, because what we've done so far, I feel very passionate about, and I'm looking for the future of this play. So, okay, Mary, you gotta talk now, because I'm crying again. Go to the other cast members.
Okay, we're gonna talk now. There's something, and I think anybody who's tried to do this, and you don't necessarily have to try to do this to know, but if you've tried to do this, you know that it takes courage to write, even if it's something that you're passionate about. It takes courage to write a play. It takes courage to write any play, to put your words and your thoughts and your feelings out there. But to write a play like this, and then to have the self-awareness to say, oh no, is a big deal. But then Angelique to step in and to write something so incredibly personal. I can't imagine how you did it. Did you have trepidation when JJ offered you the opportunity, or asked for your help, really?
Yeah, for sure. I've been going back and forth a lot with just like, through all of this, thinking about a lot of different things, right? I am a Black woman, and there's a lot of different layers to this Black Lives Matter movement. And my brother is genuinely a police officer, so that can be polarizing in our family at times. But I have been struggling with the idea of being like the token in a lot of ways throughout my life, whether it be professionally or in the community theater atmosphere, or even amongst friends. Like, I just, a lot of times you hear token and it can be, it's used as like a joke, but I feel lately that we should just call it what it is, and it's exploitation, right? You're exploiting your Black friend, or, you're the Black creative, the one that you allowed into the room, right? And so I've been going back and forth with that, and with a lot of my different interactions, and rethinking everything. So when JJ came to me, I totally trust JJ as a director who cast me in a part that wasn't a traditionally Black role. So, someone who didn't tokenize me already and respected me as a creative just because I am a creative. But I still struggle with the idea of being like this one Black voice, right? Because we are not a monolith, and we don't all think the same thing necessarily. We don't even necessarily all agree on the right solution to this, right? And so I am constantly struggling with like this weight, whether it be weight that I've put on myself or weight from years of being the one Black person in the room. I think it's a combination of both of what is the most responsible thing to say? And did I fuck it up like for the entire Black community when I said it? And when I articulated what my opinion is. And so I was scared when JJ came to me, and this is probably why we played a little bit of a dance and I dodged him a lot. But then when I sat down and another death had happened, and I was just like, you know what? You need to say something. You need to use your voice, and you are a Black artist who I like to think is respected enough that some people will listen. And so that's where it came from.
When we talked about this a little bit yesterday, you mentioned also not knowing if you were saying the right thing, and you feel like you're this weight of speaking on behalf of the whole Black community. And it just kind of blew my mind, right? Because at the same time as you're trying to figure out what is the right thing to say, what is the right thing to do, just from a personal standpoint, like JJ, I grew up in Saratoga. I mean, I'm a white lady. I'm white, and I was sitting there saying, what is the right thing to do? Right? Is the right thing to say? Like, this is a commonality, but from other sides of the.
Yeah, it is. And I just think that I don't think any of us has the answers, right? And I think that when that comes, not just talking about this specifically, but just in life, right? Like, I don't think any of us really knows what the fuck we're doing, but I do think, I just think we need more love. There just needs to be so much more love in this world, and so much more love for each other, and so much more empathy. Like, I really think that people are lacking in empathy. And I find oftentimes, and I talk about this a lot with my friend group, that Black women have like this abundance of empathy, right? Because we exist in so many different identities, right? Like, I'm a woman, but I'm also Black, but and then also like I have queer Black woman friends, and then non-binary or gender non-conforming, and it becomes, but I've always found, and you'll see at the front of every single movement, like Black women are there to support it every single time, because there's just this wealth and abundance of empathy for experiences that I may not experience. But I can put myself in that position. And I just feel like this world needs so much more love and so much more empathy.
Yeah, I no arguments here at all. One of the things that I found, and I said this yesterday when we talked, but that I found some comfort in, and again, maybe from my position of privilege, right, was that all of them walked together, and that your character said, no, you will not lead, you will not follow, we are walking together.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, like many people have different ideas of how this would go. Was that your decision or JJ's decision that you all walked together?
It was JJ's decision, and I just altered it in the sense that, in the original version, it felt more like they were all walking together because, like, just like the after school special ending to like this gangbuster story. So I altered it a little bit just to like, for the messaging to be that like, we're not leading because you've all asked us to, because we also don't have the answer to this. And we didn't create this system. Right. So like, we need you in this fight with us as like sincere allies and not performative ones in order for the system to be dismantled.
Is that the message, or is there another message that what do you want people to come away from this play with?
I just want people to have more grace for themselves, for each other. Like I said, nobody really knows what they're doing. And this is a system that needs to be broken and it needs to be dismantled. And I think very much like the patriarchy, we need to understand that nobody is served by this system. And I think once people start to really recognize where this system also does not serve them, then the power of the work can really begin.
JJ, what about you, or anything else that you want people to take away?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the huge takeaway came for me with that long conversation I had with Angelique, because we had that 3-hour conversation and I think we went over the script for maybe 15 minutes because everything she wrote, I was like, yes. But then I said to her, I belong to this very small political group of people who are very political. And there are 3 older gay white men in there. And then there is me, who is younger, who's been through, the 90s, which was that sort of time of protesting as a gay person, but we had it very easy almost in the 90s a little bit. And there's another person there who is bisexual and married to a woman of color. And we were the only 2 at the Troy protest because the 3 older ones don't want to get on the front lines. And I understand that. And I said to Angelique, which is a direct thing from the play, I said, what can I tell them to do? And God love Angelique because she loves me so much that she said, well, they don't want to be there. They can donate. They can send cases of water. And I thought to myself, you idiot, this is what people ask at when they did for marriage. You already know these answers. People of color don't need to explain what to do, because at any protest, whether it's Black Lives Matter or gay marriage or housing or anything, if education funding, if you can't be there, make sure the people who are protesting are able to protest with water, with money, with bail. So I looked at that. I was like, oh, so this is why Angelique and I are writing a play, because because she just slapped me in the face without slapping me in the face. And it was awesome. And I appreciate that, because we had a long, candid conversation about, because when Angelique and Jay were in Tour Song Trilogy, I never saw them as actors of color. I saw them as really good actors. That I tried to do that when I do theater. I made a huge mistake years back, and I own that. And I say during when I cast shows, I don't see color. And I realized, and it was explained to me many times, that you're erasing what people of color had to go through. And I didn't understand that, because I just said, well, I just like everybody, and I just want everybody to come play at Local Actors Guild. If you're a good actor, I don't care what color you are. I don't. And that I had to own the fact that I needed to realize that that is not the right thing to say. You just say, open ethnicity, open race, open gender, come play, come create. And I feel like I'm starting to do that more. But I understand what Angelique is saying. I never thought of Angelique as a Black actress. I thought of her as an actress, as a very good performer. And when I see that, it really hurts my soul, because theater is the place where that should not, because I'm never billed as a gay white male actor. I'm never billed as that. And for Angelique and other people to be billed as a Black actor or actress makes it almost seem like you're using them to put forth an agenda. And that's not right. It really isn't right. And I hope that going forward, I really want to be that theater that's like, no, I won't stand for that. You come into my theater, whatever you are, what gender, what race, what age, I don't care, your body type, come play with Local Actors Guild.
I was just about to go to the actors, but before I go to the actors in general, one of the actors is raising his hand. So Evan Jones has something to say. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, piggybacking off what JJ just said, Local Actors Guild for years has been one of the most progressive companies in terms of casting people regardless of their type or what they are or what they identify as. JJ wants good actors, he wants good performers to do good theater about important subjects. And that's why it's so important for people to support Local Actors Guild, because more so than just about any theater, JJ just looks at you. He doesn't look at what you are. He looks at you. He looks at the soul of the person.
It's true. It's true. And the actors who play there always have a lot of heart, you know, because you JJ recognizes that. So that's terrific. To the actors in general, anybody want to speak to what the thoughts you had when you read the piece?
You know, Brian's been raising his hand for a while,
Sorry,
Mark
Brian,
Berry.
I missed you until just now. So before we get to them, let's get to Brian.
Just a few things. You know, well, I had a meeting. I met with Angelique and Remy like days after, and we had this like great conversation, and they were crying, and I started crying, and it was really raw, and it sparked me to start reading as much as I could. So like I've been starting reading, and what I've learned is what JJ was just saying is, you know, I've been guilty of putting someone in a token role, and not on stage, but in general, or using someone's artistry in a token capacity. It was never on purpose, but I think part of creating our art is, and being just a good human, if you just choose to be a good human, is to be able to say, look, I fucked up. I've been doing this and not realizing it. I'm sure I'll do it again, and I'll have to go, come on, dude, get this shit together, you know? You know, that's part of like, if you haven't read White Fragility yet, you're failing. So you should read it. But also another comment I have is, so first of all, I'm sorry for that, because I'm guilty of that as an artist, as a writer and a director. I've done that, me. And I'm a person who tries to find the good in every single person. I do find the good in every person, but we've all been taught to be nasty people. Anyway, I had that great conversation. I've had many great conversations with Angelique. And I just need to say that I applaud you both, but JJ, I'm glad you got her to write, because not only have we been watching you be a great actor on stage, we all knew you were going to write, Angelique. It was just a matter of time. So, you know, from your posts on Facebook and everything, you know, your posts and the stuff you post, like the memes and stuff is great, but like when it's your words, it's crazy inspiring. So like, welcome to the damn club. The writing club.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next, Angelique. Anybody else want to chime in, actors, on what it felt like to read this for the first time?
So I thought last night when we read it, like a lot of people also, there were a lot of times over the last couple of months, specifically over the last couple of months, where I thought all I want to do is speak up and let everybody know how awful I think this is, or what, you know, there's so many things that I wanted to articulate that I either didn't feel it was, I don't know, appropriate at certain times. I wanted to listen more. I wanted to hear what other people who are more directly affected by this, what people of color have to say about this. It's not that it's not our place to speak up when we see things that are horrible, but I a lot of the time felt like I'm of two minds. So on one hand, it's not a time to be silent, but on the others, I want to hear what other people think, because as Angelique pointed out, there's this incredible need for empathy all the time. And now is when I feel it the most. And I thought to myself, the only way that I can possibly ever actually try and understand what a person of color might be feeling right now is to shut up and fucking listen a little bit. And this, I feel like this play, this reading, gave me a very much needed opportunity to be able to express something that I couldn't articulate. And I'm really, really grateful for that. It's not something I've said to either JJ or Angelique yet, or anybody really, but it's been very difficult. And this has really been a treat to be able to have somebody else who is better at putting words together on paper put together really how I was hurting as a human being, watching all of these horrible things happen and the world crumbling around us. Not to mention the fact that we all can't do the things that we really love to do beyond something like Zoom.
Yeah.
And the truth is as much as it's going to sound like a commercial, it's very true. I'm so happy that I get to be a part of the QeT that is benefiting Local Actors Guild, because I love Local Actors Guild so much. I love Local Actors Guild. I got to do one show with them, and it was among the best I've ever done, and it was an amazing experience. And I know how badly they're hurting right now too. Like it's this whole thing was just been so meaningful. So thank you guys. I'd say thank you.
Yeah, I have to say I was glad to play even a small part in it. Katie, you had
I just want to say my character, you know, when I first read this, I was like, oh, like my character doesn't get it. Like, you know, I was like, I'm so much more like advanced in my thinking than this character, but like, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to, you know, I'll do it just as fine. And, you know, and since we first got the play, I'm like, maybe I am a little bit like this character. Maybe I need to like do some more work. So that was one of the things that I very much took from this. And just from a personal sort of standpoint, you know, my job is in the domestic violence field. And for years I've been saying like combating domestic violence is not a woman's job. It's men's job too. And it pisses me off that in every meeting I go to and there's a task force and it's 90% women. And I'm like, why aren't men stepping up and doing something? And this play made me think about like, you know, we shouldn't just be expecting people of color to fix all these problems. Like it's literally everyone's problem. Like it's everyone needs to come together to find a solution, or at least be there for each other when we're working on finding the solution. So I sort of found that parallel, and it, you know, opened my eyes even more. So that's all.
Yeah, I think your experience, Alex's experience is similar to mine. You know, Brian, I did read White Fragility like right after George Floyd died, and I really took it seriously, and I started thinking, and I was, you know, trying to take inventory of myself, but that walking that line between what you feel like you should do or are allowed to do, or what is right and what is wrong. And I think we're just going to have to be like messy and make mistakes sometimes, and love each other and forgive each other. Like the most important thing, the word I heard tonight that is going to stay with me is grace, Angelique. That is the word that I ask for more of every day, you know, and we need it. We need it now, because we're going to bungle if we're trying. We're going to make mistakes if we're trying. Yeah. But we're trying, all of us. I mean, you know.
And it's definitely hard too. I mean, grace is a hard thing, because the idiot who has a platform and holds office in Washington said tonight while you were reading, a thing came up on New York Times on my phone that said, "We will never surrender to mob rule." Just using the freaking word mob is not, it infuriates me. If I had hair, it would be falling out because the rage fills me. It's like, it's great to hear that, but it's also hard to stay graceful when you're dealing with a world that's half full of good people who need to be changed. I won't call them idiots.
There's nothing I can say directly to him, but my problem is somehow I've got to figure out how to navigate the social media world, you know, coming out of the woodwork and in places I never expected, and trying to deal with them and still maintain grace.
It's difficult. Definitely difficult.
I have a quick question. So Roseanne Kane just messaged me, and she has a question from YouTube, and I think probably Angelique is probably the best person to answer this question, or even Jean Remy or Carol, if you're still here. This might be a good thing for all three of you to kind of answer. She said, the passion and sorrow were palpable, both via the writing and the acting. How do you, Any who wish to answer believe we can promote genuine change in the event, heaven forbid, of the current president's reelection? I know it's a very hard question to answer, but like, how do we move forward and do change if we have, I'm not putting into the universe 4 more years of something that I know that none of us want.
Community theater in Paris. We just
I hear Canada is lovely.
we could have a house like friend.
Yeah. I do see that. I see that Carol came off of mute.
Well, funny that you said that, because that's the question that I've been posing to my circle of people, and the shock, the awe, and the distaste aside, we've been having those conversations, and you have to go prepper Girl Scout to be prepared and make sure that it's mental, physical, and emotionally prepared. And that's what I personally am doing with my people who, my inner circle people, and, spreading it out to make sure that you're good. And I know this is not what people wish for, but to make sure that you are prepared, because we weren't prepared 3 3/4 years ago. So if it doesn't go your way yet again, you have to have a plan.
That's hard.
And Angelique, your hand is raised.
Yeah, I totally agree with Miss Carol, but I would also say, like, there's not a change to the plan, right? We just intensify the plan. We just continue making art. Like, we're artists, that's what we do, right? So we lean in onto making art that is educating people and opening their minds, and we don't let off the gas, and we don't stop. Like, it's easy. I think that's a easier question to pose if you don't exist in a Black, Indigenous, person of color's body, because the thing is that man in office has exposed a mindset that has existed this entire time. So this isn't new. This is, and to be clear, Black Lives Matter started before he got here. I have been protesting for 10 years of my life. So Mike Brown was before him. Trayvon Martin was before him. Amadou Diallo was when I was 8 years old. So none of this is new. This is just more apparent to people because they're stuck at home with nothing else to do but watch the news and see social media and fight with each other about how they feel about it, right? But for me, this is a lived experience that I've lived for in all of my 33 years. And for my parents, for all of their years. And to be clear, this all isn't just about George Floyd, because white people forget Emmett Till.
Yeah, I recently watched a documentary called 1969, and it goes pretty much through the year 1969. They do Mary Lookapetney, they do Charles Manson, but then they do a section, ironically, that deals with both Stonewall and the Black Panther movement. And I was watching it because I was like, ooh, Stonewall. And I was like, ooh, Black Panther. And I heard the Black Panther say Black Lives Matter. And it blew my mind, because I ignorantly, in my big white gay body, was like, oh, this is new. This is obviously a new movement because something happened. And I didn't realize how ignorant I was to that I understand the civil rights movement. I've read so much about Emmett Till and slavery, but the fact that Black Lives Matter movement was around way before me, it never put 2 and 2 together because I never had to.
But conversely, I would say what a beautiful fucking time we live in right now, right? Because now everybody is forced to deal with this issue. And so something's gonna give. Regardless of whoever ends up in that office in November, something's gotta give. And there is everything in my body says that the work that I'm doing, the emotional labor that I'm dealing with, is going to make a difference for when my Black nephew is my age.
Can I ask a question? And this is for anybody. We're talking about voting. We're talking about making change. Has anyone ever had an encounter with a Trump supporter or where they've actually changed a mind?
No, never.
A racist where they've actually changed a mind? I just, Alex, you have something?
So yeah, I haven't had an experience like that, but I actually really love this question because it raises an interesting point and a difficult one. So here we are in a group of rather, I would imagine, very, very wonderfully progressive people. And you pose the question, have we ever been in an encounter with a Trump supporter and changed their mind? And the answer is always like, oh God, no, how could you? I will play a bit of devil's advocate here and say, well, what is the chance that they would change your mind? It's zero. It's zero. The point shouldn't be, how can we get other people to see what I see? Right? That's an ultimate sort of umbrella goal. But I always feel like when you're having these discussions with you know, whether it's religion or politics, it's always very easy to write somebody off if we don't agree with them. And that is not how change happens. You have to hear people. And that, again, I talk about empathy. It's so clear right now. You need to, I think we all need to understand each other a lot more instead of just encasing ourselves in and surrounding ourselves with people that think exactly the same things as we do. It can help to hear what other people say. It might make you feel really mad, but to shut people out is never a good thing. I don't think. And it's just been playing around in my head a lot that for decades and decades and decades, it's always been impolite to speak about politics or religion. And now that we have something like social media where it is easier to talk about these things because you're not face to face with people, you feel a little more empowered. And now it is so in vogue to sort of wear your beliefs right on your sleeve and let everybody know about it. Everybody is so empowered that it really serves to, I think, add to this divide. We've spent so long not talking about these things that now that we all talk about them, we don't know how to do it.
No.
So I thought it was an interesting way to pose that question. You know, have they ever changed their mind? I would say that shouldn't be the goal. Not in the sense that I think the question was meant. Right? No, I don't mean that you meant that was what you.
No.
It made me think of a point that I wanted to make that is just very poignant, especially in this piece. I mean, it's empathy is so important, and we cannot hope for things that we all really want, like real change and real equality, if we don't listen to people that we disagree with.
Yep. Angelique, you something?
Yes, I fully agree, except that I do think that that there are certain times where it's okay. And I say that because, like, I don't have the luxury of deciding whether or not to wear you know, my feelings on my sleeve because it's the color of my skin. And I would also say that Black Lives Matter, even though people like to identify it as a political issue, it's not a political issue. It's a human rights issue. And so that in and of itself, you know, if your beliefs directly continue to bolster like my disenfranchisement, then I feel like I have the right to kind of step away and be done with that person.
Joe Quant, I don't know if anybody knows Joe, he's an actor in the Capital Region, wrote something on Facebook that I've been thinking about all week about, you know, how people who are not in this, you know, group that we have surrounded ourselves with tonight, Trump supporters and people are watching, think about it like they're watching a different movie than the rest of us. Like we're all in the same movie theater, but they're watching a different movie. I don't know. It's been sort of sitting with me this week as is that a way, but I can't make that be okay. I can make that be okay with certain things, but like you say, Angelique, not with that. You know, I don't know.
Well, in thinking about our rehearsal last night, it was funny when we got done and Meg said one of the most poignant things ever, because it made me think, yes, JJ, you have privilege, because Meg said the one thing during this whole thing that she goes, the most human thing for her in the play was when we were all watching Tiger King, right? Because who cared if we were black, white? We watched this mess during my husband, who is so political, who hates reality TV, sat with me and watched that from beginning to end. And it's remarkable how something that doesn't care about skin color or race or anything brought us together at the beginning of this quarantine. I'm sure there's people on here who haven't watched it. I understand your objection to Tiger King, but let me tell you, it got me through those first 3 weeks of quarantine. I'm on my 6th time of watching it fully, because when I need to get out of where we are, when I need to stop thinking about Breonna Taylor or George Floyd for 1 minute, I put on this documentary of this gay person who has 2 husbands, who raises tigers in Oklahoma. Like, blew my mind. Like, you exist and you ran for office. You ran for governor of Oklahoma and you got 11% of the votes. Blew my mind. Right? That, but and I'm sure Meg can talk about that. Like, that's a weird thing, right, Meg, to be like, that's so weird, right?
Meg, you want to that? Yeah. And Evan's been waiting too. So, Meg?
Oh, sorry, if I could just, no, it's funny that you say that was poignant, because my, after all that, like, once we got done actually doing like the rehearsal last night, my first response to the entire play was, God, Angelique, like, please stop making me cry,
right?
Like, because of your acting. And like, she very honestly just broke down and said, I'm not acting. And I literally was just like, oof, you did it again. That was not the right thing to say. And I felt so bad. And we just all let it cry out for a minute. And I feel like that was like the most poignant moment for me of this like entire play, of just like, nope, you have to remember, like, this is a play, but it's all happening still, even though it's not happening to you. So I felt really bad about that, but I love you.
I love you so much. And has anyone watched this stupid show on Hulu called Love in the Time of Corona? If you haven't yet, like, go watch it. But like, I thought it was like really funny or whatever until it like got too real, right? Like stuff like this. And this is why I suggested potentially like a trigger warning, is like, it's all too soon. Like, and there were certain things that, like, you know, parents dying and people not being able to be with their families, and then, you know, someone watching the video with George Floyd, although they changed the name. And like, I had the same reaction that Ashley has in this play, where I literally looked at my roommate and I said, turn it off. Like, I can't. Like, I understand that this is important for people to discuss, for people to relive, and art, it does such a great job of like shaping these conversations, but also like we spend so much time using art to like escape all of this shit, right? And so
yeah.
How many tigers are in that show?
Well, now that I know I need to watch a good show, I'm going to find out.
If it's more than 0, I'm in. Yeah.
Do you have, is your comment about tigers?
Maybe. Going back to the script, I wanted to compliment JJ and Angelique on the structure of it, because all great dramas need to have levity in order for the dramatic moments to resonate. And I think beginning this play as a silly Friends episode,
yeah,
and then it turning so quickly into what it turns into, that really resonates with an audience, with a reader, that, oh, this is so much funny, and then bam, you hit them with it. And then it's shocking what we're seeing, but we have to face it because it's real. And it's the realest part of this show. The rest of it's fun, and we all love Tiger King. But now that we have your attention, listen to this.
But
I think what helps with that too, Evan, is the fact that these characters are at the beginning 100% archetypes, which helps when there's the switch and it makes it real. I mean, that is right. I mean, that is clear as day. A wonderful, wonderful thing that you put into the play. So that, I mean, that is awesome.
There's almost something, and not quite, but there's almost something surreal, right? About like you're watching Monica and Chandler and Phoebe in one version or another, and then all of a sudden they morph into something else. You know?
But like that was all JJ, and it was perfect. He's a brilliant writer. If you guys have not experienced any of the rest of his work, and director, and like one of my favorite people to work with, period. Like you said play earlier, Mary Darcy, and that's how I feel. Like going to work at local Actors Guild, not a commercial, I swear, is like going to play. Like just like theater, like camp.
What does Mary Darcy call it?
I call it Camp JJ.
Yeah, it's so fun.
So does Melissa Hoffman. Same thing, Camp JJ.
Camp JJ. Oh.
But I would say that like it also it reflects all of this, right? Like I feel like that's why I suggested calling it A Tale of Two Pandemics, because
Great title.
Like, thank you. I feel like we went through this period where like I almost feel like I got tricked into thinking for a few months there that we were all on the same playing field. Like we're all dealing with the same thing, and like we are just all the same. Like I felt that so strongly for several months. And it was like all like literally, I mean, everybody's just drinking on Zoom at night, watching Tiger King, like having silly like bachelorette parties and birthdays because nobody can be together, and we're all just kind of struggling through this together while also
Write that down.
Super scared.
Write that down right now. Grab your notebook. Angelique JJ, that's a line in the play.
I know.
I thought we were all on the same playing field. That is a scene in the play right there. That's
well, I mean, Angelique, well, how long into quarantine did I write that little 10-minute play where we just wanted to have fun with me, you, Megan Ryan, Sarah Papini, and Laura, and Nick Basenka? It was like 2 months in. We're like, let's just have fun and write this thing. And holy crap.
We were all like just watching Leslie Jordan videos and like laughing together, and like it all sucked, but like we were all in this together. Yeah. And
I was like, what a great time to write a sitcom, right? Like, yeah, you do a sitcom, and then bam, that rug got pulled right out under me.
Right.
That's where QeT came from. We were like, we want to do theater. Let's get together and drink and have a good time and do theater.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that rug got pulled out right from under us, right when it was still fun doing trivia and drinking and.
Hey, I have a question while my mic is turned on.
Okay.
Because I don't remember this. So here's the first question. Was the original news reports leaning on his back? Is that how those news reports first came out? Because when I first saw the George Floyd video, they were saying leaning on his neck.
Well, everything happened so like this. This script happened so fast once it happened. Like this is just the draft, which I would never submit to a festival. So I'm asking because I don't think if no one ever said in a news thing on his back, you should keep it anyway, because that opens up a whole line of covering up and all of that. Yeah, conversations, right.
I love the line is what I'm saying. I couldn't remember if that was the news reports. And also I can't remember if I've ever heard this line or I have heard Angelique say this. But the line, "You are your ancestors' wildest dreams."
That's Angelique. That's all Angelique. That's all Angelique.
Pansies and Tonys and shit.
The only part about that monologue was her going to the front line and encountering someone and the conversation between the grandmother and the grandson. And then my monologue was a lot shorter, and Angelique took it to levels that I could never do because I was looking at it through white eyes. I really was. But I was happy that she trusted me enough to take what my base was and make it what it was tonight, which was an absolutely beautiful monologue.
Thank you for letting me.
We have a question from Elisa. Are you still there, Elisa?
Oh, I thought better of it because I'm a little embarrassed, but I think that the beginning could really help smash the patriarchy if you write in that Jay actually does take his shirt off. because I was really disappointed
Well,
that didn't happen.
But just think, if we ever get in a theater again and we do this fully on stage, Jay Vang will be in a towel.
Jay, come on. Come on.
No shirt through the whole thing.
Come on, Jay.
David,
David, you too.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Well,
you know?
Jay, I have to ask you, because Jay, when I wrote this show, I specifically wrote it for certain actors, and some of them are in it, but Jay was one of them. And I realized after we read it last night, I was like, I'm a little objectifying Jay, but he did put TikToks a lot on Facebook. And anybody who's on this call always know that if you ever put something on Facebook, I may write a play about it, but I will ask you first. And everybody has known that. But I mean, Jay, what was your, because I didn't really talk to you last night. We really didn't talk to you. How was your experience playing this person of color in this play?
So I knew you were working on this, JJ, because you told me.
Right.
Then Edna sent me a reminder. I'll send you the script. Are you still aboard? And I'm like, absolutely. And when you said you wrote this character based off of me, I thought it was more of a loosely speaking. Then I was reading the script. I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. This is me. This is Jay. Like, his name just happens to be Eddie. But it's so wild because this whole thing, you know, I think it's really weighed on us all in different ways. And I hear the phrase, we have to understand this whole structure that we have to dismantle. It's so nuanced because just based on my own experiences within my own microcosm, my family's West Indian. So I'm a person of color, but I'm not Black. And even within that is its own nuance. I've been stopped, I've been pulled over before, and I can see in the cop's eyes after pulling me over. I'm dark. It's that look of, he's not Black. You know, that kind of, and it's just such a strange thing. And then conversely speaking, I've met individuals who've never met a person of color in their entire lives who look at me, oh, I thought you were Black. And so it's that added dimension. And I don't know what I'm trying to say with this, and I don't know how to articulate it, but this whole reading this and doing this really put things in a perspective. And within my own community, you know, family, friends, and everything, I feel so absolutely people, like, you know, persons of color, you know, those from the Caribbean, like my family, West Indies, largely speaking, Asians, you know, those, you know, you name it. There's people of color, they experience a lot of prejudiceness. The Middle Easterners after 9/11, I grew up in New York City. But right now, I think this is as a person of color, what other people of color have to do is band together, because this is, and I might be alone on this. What African Americans are dealing with, what Blacks are dealing with, is a whole nother level right now. And I think that we have to understand that dynamic. And just reading this script, and JJ, thank you, and Angelique, I thank you both. Like seriously, there's not enough being done on our end as well, which sounds kind of interesting. And I'm sure I'd like to hear what someone, you know, who's white, who may have not thought about that, but there's just so much added, just, you know, it's just so, I don't know what I'm saying, but this inherent structure that we've created, this patriarchal society where I don't know how to start to dismantle it, but even within my own community it exists, and I'm not white. You know what I mean? So I said that to say, just to give some perspective that, you know, what I've dealt with my entire life. Yeah, absolutely. I've been called Black, and I'm dark, but I'm not necessarily Black. Okay. I can recall walking in grew up in New York City, but then in mid high school, I moved to the Schenectady area for my family. My cousins visit. We're wearing, the typical high school street clothes, baggy pants, hoodie, completely different, from what I wear now. And I forget the situation, but we're walking towards, I think we're going to a pizza shop, and we make a wrong turn. So we go from Schenectady, we're walking forever. We get into Niskayuna, like the heart of, suburban Niskayuna. And we're walking, and we get pulled over on foot by a cop car. And we were told that we don't look like we belong here. And when we took our hoodies off, it's that look of, and I can see it in the face. It's like, oh, well, I guess they're not black, but okay. Well, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. Just stay out of trouble. And a 17-year-old Jay, like 16, 17, I have been younger, but it's just wild to me. I don't know. I'm rambling. Sorry, guys, but
No.
you asked.
Thank you, Jay.
JJ will steal something from your Facebook, because the quote about my dad, that actually happened. And I put that on my Facebook, that my dad did. I was ranting and raving about everything. And my father did say to me, Ange, I'm so sorry.
And I really took that, and that was one of the hardest statuses of hers during this that I read. And I felt like it needed to be in the play, because it's a very real moment for someone of Angelique's age, and especially her father, who was a policeman, who fought as a policeman. And at that time, to say to his daughter and his son, who was a policeman, I wanted a better life for you. I didn't think you were going to have to go through this. So I wanted to make sure. And I went back and forth, and I put the line in, I took it out, I put it back in. But then I thought about Angelique, and of all people, Angelique wants that to be known, because that is a very big thing. And I said to her, listen, I put it in there. I'm sending the script. I put that line in there. I'm asking permission. Let me get the form, sign off to your words. But I wanted to make sure, because that, to me, was one of the most powerful things that I read during this for Angelique. Like, I saw her photos. We were in Troy together, but like that moment is like when Pulse Orlando happened. I gave a speech in Saratoga, and I had to write a speech, and I thought to myself, okay, how are you gonna recognize this? Because this was a Latino night at Pulse Orlando. So if I was in Orlando, I would have never gone, right? Because it's Latino night. And I wrote a speech, and I said, I talked about my mother and my stepfather, what they had to go through, JFK, all these white things that happened. And they said, I know where I was where JFK died. I know where I was in this. And then when I saw Angelique write that, I go, holy crap. Like, my parents went through the major things, the most famous things. But my parents never went through just being somebody on the street that is targeted for who you are. And Angelique's parents and my parents are close to the same age. Different, but close. They lived in the same time. And Angelique's parents had to go through far more than my parents did. So I felt that line needed to be in there. And if she fought me on it, I would have been on this 3-hour Zoom call and like, remember that line I told you about you didn't want me to put in? No one. But she was acceptable to that in the very beginning. So I thank you for letting me put that in there, Angelique.
For sure. I got to tell my dad, he's extremely proud of both of what he calls both of his frontline workers. And he, I've sent him the pictures that my photographer friends have taken of me while I'm out at protest. And his one goal is to learn how to use Twitter so that he can tweet Don Lemon a picture of his daughter on the front line and his son on the front line.
Guys, we've been at this a while, but I don't want to shut it down if people have questions. Evan's got something. Evan?
I just was gonna, before we start to wind down, I just wanted to say that, Angelique is one of my best friends. She has been since we met years ago. And, I know I'm not the best person, and, I'm a white coward. And she has been so inspiring over these last few months that, you know, I've realized that she's the most powerful person I know all around because of what she has to deal with, not by choice. And it makes me, it made me realize just how lucky I was to be born a certain way. And I had never thought about that before. It was just not part of my life, but now it is because someone I love is dealing with it. So I just wanted to say, you know, thank you and I love you. And you know that me and everyone else that you see on your screen right now will always be there for you.
Yep.
Except Alex.
Yeah, Alex is rude.
You say you're a coward.
I don't really like Angelique now. I'm just kidding.
We've got a lot of people saying wonderful things about Angelique and JJ and the cast and the play. And then Margie says, encourage everyone to vote. We gotta not let off the gas. Yes, exactly. This oppression predates 2016. Dan Gallagher says, thank you for doing this and all the difficult work. It wasn't easy to watch, but necessary and well done. And yeah, I think you guys, David, that can everybody see these later? Or
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
people can be reading them. We'll be the actors and producers and writers will be joining each other personally in a moment. Feel
Great.
free to flip. I encourage you to look through the chats. They're quite beautiful.
Yeah,
Some
they
of the
really
things
are
that have shared.
And also, this video, this whole performance, and the Q&A and everything will be on our Quarantine E-Theater YouTube page.
Right.
As soon as we hit the stop button, it'll render and all that, and it should be up by the end of the night.
The only thing that's missing, I don't think the chat function is in the YouTube thing. You don't get to see that dynamic. So take a look at it quickly, flip through it.
And you know, this was, you know, probably our most important script that we've done. So please share it after the fact. We want people to see this. And we want people to keep donating to LAGS also.
Yeah, JJ, tell them how to do that.
You have to go to the GoFundMe, and I'm getting blown up. So let's see if I can give you an update on the GoFundMe.
Yeah. And in the meantime, thank you to the cast. This was really a joy to be a part of. Thanks, Evan, for asking me to even be a small part of it. And to Evan and David and Brian for e-quarantine. I know that I have said this many, many times on Facebook and out in public other places, but to your faces, to your socially distanced faces, thank you for doing this. This has been a great way to keep a community together.
Listen, this is first of all, it's our pleasure, and second of all, like we could talk about this and talk.
And Brian, well,
shut up, David. Look, we're all artists. Maybe some of you haven't started writing yet. Now's the time to start writing. You all have stories to tell. You know, Alex said at the beginning of this, you know, he does some things, but he knows people that can put words to paper better than he can. I've had a conversation with you. I know you can write. So,
yeah.
So can Mary Darcy, who I keep doing it to. And
so, like, you know, we all have a story. And Angelique is coming out as a writer now, which is freaking fantastic. So, like, you all have a story to tell. You know, whether it's social, even if it's not a social justice story, it could be, you know, Jen Bullington can write about her cat or her dog. Like, you know, you have a story. We have this platform. So, we didn't know we were going to use this story from JJ. We literally just said, JJ, we're going to do one of your plays. Which one do you got? So, well, we said have because God's not. But right.
And we've raised $293 out of the $200.
Yeah, so we can do better than that. So share this video, talk it up.
Great.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We'll see you in a month, right, David? When is the date again?
The next date is Sunday, September 20th at 7:30. It's Exquisite Corpse script by the name of the dysfunctional philosopher, and I forget the rest of the title. It just goes on and on.
We're doing that for Confetti Stage.
Yep, that'll be for Confetti.
And you know those crazies over there have got something fun in store for us. So I say crazies in the best way possible. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys for being here. JJ, Angelique, thank you for the play. It was freaking awesome. Just awesome.
So if the viewers could sign off and the actors, writers, producers could just stay on for a moment, that'd be great.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you,
David,
everyone.
Remy, let's talk soon.
David, you can stop the YouTube feed now.
Yeah.